Hi everyone, I wanted to show you all my new blue-black deck. It's been titled Ashiok Copy. I'll show you some of the cards here and then we'll give it a run and see how it does. So starting at the beginning, I started with a few low manas just to have a nice mana curve. The vampire is always nice, Death Touch, Lifelink, a good defender. Fairy Miscreant, another one. It's just a simple 1/1, but it's got flying, and in theory, if you get more than one out, you're getting to draw a card. So, I mean, you figure 2 mana's worth, and you get to get 2 1/1 flyings and a draw card. Not too bad. Then we're going to move over Cloud Concealer, kind of that same idea. I want to draw cards, it's cheap flying. The whole idea of these is to get ahead to these bigger things, which I'll get to later, but those are going to help speed the thing along. Murderous Rider is always cool for a black deck because you're going to get that nice swift end, the destroy target creature or planeswalker. That's fantastic. And then it also happens to be a 2/3 creature, so with some lifelink. So it's a nice card. It does the job. Quasi-duplicate, huge fan of it because you're going to get to copy a target creature and it's got jumpstart, so we can do it 2 times. Move on. I got Ashiok Dreamrender in here. Now this is the weaker of the Ashioks, but it is very useful in combination with the Nightmare Muse because its -1 thing is going to exile the graveyard. And you'll see later the Ashiok Nightmare Muse, its ability is to pull cards from their exile. So, they're really good in combination. Let's move into the 4 manas. We've got Covetous Urge. I like this one. It's pretty straightforward, but you get to basically steal a card from the graveyard or hand, and that's pretty cool. So you can take your opponent's stuff and get to look at their deck. That's always nice too. You can see their hand. Revenge of Ravens, they're always good. It's a good defense. I've seen more than a few times that this has won the game for me because they were playing with small creatures, 1/1s and 2/2s, and they ended up just, basically committing suicide through attacks, and that's fantastic. It's a good protection for you while you're building your stuff. Nightveil Predator, just another solid guy. He's a flying, death touch, and hexproof. Yeah, nothing about him really, but he's just a straightforward and a strong player. He's a little mana specific, but that's okay. We've got Thassa Deep Dwelling. I'm sure by now pretty much everybody's aware of Thassa. It is an unbelievably strong card, especially when in combination with, it works so well with so many other cards. For smaller stuff, this works really well with the Cloud Concealer. You get to bring it in and out each round and get to draw another card. Same if you have 2 Fairy Miscreants, you can use the Thassa to bring one of them out and then back in again, and you're going to get to draw a card. Moreover, this Thassa is going to work really well with the Gyruda Doom of Depths, which if you're not familiar with, when it enters the battlefield, we put 4 cards from my library and the opponent's library into the graveyard, and then you get to play one of them. Just throw it right there out onto the battlefield. A creature with even converted mana cost, of course, I apologize. But still, really awesome, especially if you're combining that with the Thassa. You get to do that at least once per turn once they're both out. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. We'll go back a little bit. So here's the big Ashiok. She is a badass. You get to make those 2/3 creatures. You get to, which exile whenever they attack or block. You can always use it to return a non-land permanent to its hand, which is, it's cool. It can definitely slow down your opponent, but I try to save up for that big -7. The -7 is huge. You get to pull cards from up to 3 of their face-up cards from their exile without paying their mana cost. So that's fantastic. And we also skipped over Spark Double. Super strong, because this is going to be a copy card, but if you look at it, it copies Legendary. So you can create multiple Thassas on the field, you can create multiple Ashioks on the field, you can create multiple Gyrudas. I had 3 Gyrudas last time I played, and the Thassa, so I was crushing with just the combination of this card, and this card. absolutely destroyed my opponent, who was, until I got them out, about to defeat me. But, anyways, I believe that's everything. Oh yeah, and the Enter the Gods Eternal. It's just a nice one. It's a little expensive, 5 mana, but it's going to do 4 damage. Gives you 4 life, and you get to amass 4. But you're also putting 4 cards into their graveyard, which again is going to play in with this Ashiok, who will take the graveyard and put it in exile, which then works with that Ashiok. So in theory, a lot of these cards are all working together with each other, and I love that in a deck. And then we just have a few of these here lands. Alright, well without further ado, let's give this guy a try and see how it does. Alright. It's mostly low mana to start, so that's kind of neat. Got some quick stuff. It's not the best mana curve. I'm not super happy with that many 1 mana creatures, and then just this huge gap till we get to 4. I think I'm going to keep it though. We'll give it a go, see how it works out. I'm going to definitely start with the vampire because we got some death touch and for protection, and get the lifelink, so I might be able to sneak a quick attack in and get a point or 2 off on him and gain a life point or 2 myself. And we're playing a blue-white. I always like to see what they're playing. It could be more than that, but at least we know it's a blue-white right now. Blue-whites are big for flying, birds, things like that. So we're going to play both of these 1 manas. We're going to drop the fairy and another vampire. Alright, we're going to get that quick attack in, which is cool. But yeah, we got to watch out for blue. Blue is always dangerous with counter spells and things like that. That usually is what is paired up in the white decks. He's still only got 1 mana available since the other one came in tapped, so that's cool. We don't get to put anything out this turn. Unfortunately, we got a second Covetous Urge. It's a little much. While I like the card, I'd rather have some creatures or something. So hopefully when we play this next turn, he's got something that we can use. It is actually kind of fun to be able to play this while he's got so many cards in hand still. We'll have more options. So hopefully that works out. Looking good. We've taken 4 points and gained 3. So that's a nice 7-point gap, nice 7-point difference. That's how I like to look at it, where I look at 16 and 23. We're looking at a 7-point differential, which is pretty cool for only our 3rd turn. Now we need some of the big boys to come in. Hopefully some big players start coming, or hopefully I can steal a big one. Ooh, okay, so he's pulling out the Teferi. That's alright, if he uses the big power, which is -3, I'll be able to kill him on his following turn, because he'll only have 1 loyalty left, so that would allow me to kill him with any one of these. Chose not to. That's actually pretty smart of him. And if you didn't notice, he also pulled a red, so we're looking at a 3-color deck that he's playing. Let's see what else he has in there. Let's find out. Ooh. So I'm kind of back and forth whenever I do this, because I partially want to take stuff like this away from him, but I also kind of want to take something that I can use. That would be a cool one. But let's focus with that. We're going to steal his Shadow of the Sky. I don't want him using that on me. Since I have more creatures than him right now, it would be useful to do that. Should I ignore the Teferi? I feel like I should just ignore the Teferi and keep hammering at his other stuff, because the only things he could take away from me right now are really cheap creatures, and they'll just go back to my hand. So I'm not super worried about the Time Raveler. Now, Teferi can be super, super powerful if used right. It can be very, very helpful. That return up to one target artifact, creature, or enchantment to its owner's hand is a great way to slow things down. Plus, you get to draw a card. It's going to slow your opponent down. They have to spend a bunch of mana their next turn to put the creature back out. But that's not an issue for me. I've got these. So I've got to Shatter the Sky, but again, I don't plan on using that right away because I've got the creatures and he doesn't. So let's just keep riding that out. Sheesh. Alright, well, it's starting to throw a little too much mana at me now. So let's do the Covetous Urge again. See, we could stop his counter spell, which is nice. We can get ourselves that guy, which is a big badass, but we're at what, 5 mana, 6 mana. We'll be able to get that out in a turn or two. That would be cool. Let's double check there's nothing in his graveyard we want. Draw 4 cards is cool. Opt, yeah. Let's go ahead and steal his counter target spell. He's only got 4 mana. That's going to take him a long time to get to use this Yadaro. So in the meantime, we can get a lot of damage done, and there's not a lot he can do about it. And of course, there's also this is going to be the next one. It's pretty good. Now that he's got his 5th mana out, it can happen. That'll probably be what he plays. That's another trick when you're stealing from people's hands or making them discard is don't always go for the biggest one. Maybe go for the one that he's going to be able to afford the soonest. Looks like he's using the Yadara to cycle, which is pretty useful when it's an expensive card like that and you realize you're not going to get much use out of it. Oof. And I get another land. Whoop-de-doo. Alright. Well, that's not great. We'll go again with our 3 damage. We get to do, bring him down to 7, and I'll go up to 30. So this isn't the best example of what this deck was supposed to do, but it's still working nonetheless. I'd say it's mostly because he's not getting much stuff out, so that's not saying much for my deck. It's just saying that his isn't working as well as he would hope. Interesting, it didn't give me that option. So, if he's smart, he knows I've got that neutralized, so maybe he's saving his other cards for it. He doesn't want to lose that. Alright, well, he went away ahead and got rid of my vampire. Sheesh, which I drew another mana, if you can believe that. That's 4 or 5 in a row. It's really starting to get annoying. Mana drowned like crazy. And I didn't put that many mana into this deck. I believe it's like 26 out of 61, something along that line. I don't know, I adjusted it a few times going back and forth, but anyways, it's alright. It'll just leave us more mana to use on these guys this instant, hopefully. Let's see. And again, just keep attacking at his life points, because this Teferi's not a huge threat to us. If he was smart, he could use that Teferi, I believe, on his own enchantment, which is this guy, and he'd be able to just bring it in and out. Instead, he sacrificed it, but he could be scrying and drawing by just using his Teferi to bring that card in and out, but thankfully he didn't think of that, so that's cool. Looks like he might try to get rid of this guy. He's highlighting it. Oh, Mythos, nice. He just destroyed them all. I'm interested why this didn't allow. Why couldn't I play that? That's an instant. It didn't give me the option to counter his spell. Yeah, it doesn't say that I can't do it or anything. That's interesting. Oh, because of the Teferi. I'm dumb. Ha! Well, there you have it. I wasn't thinking about that at all. Well, this stinks because I'm at 8 mana and I still can't play this because I've only got 1 island. Really screwing me on the mana this game, but yeah, nothing I can do here. That's great. Alright, we gotta let it ride, and we'll see. Oh boy. So he's got the Dream Trawler. Not a big fan of playing against it because it is an incredible card. Um, I've rarely won against a Dream Trawler, and I've rarely lost having it in my deck. It makes a blue-white super strong. It's because he gets to draw a lot of cards, and whenever you discard a card, he gets hexproof, so it's very hard to get rid of him. Actually, I wonder if this would count towards it. Let's go ahead and give it a try. Yeah. Alright, that was worth it. We did get this guy out, and I kind of wanted to use him, but what's neat is I can pull cards onto the battlefield with this card from his graveyard, which means we can go grab that flying creature now. Ugh, we finally got a second blue, which is cool, so that's playable, but this guy needs to come out. Hopefully he's not going to counter me, because he's got a lot of mana. He could counterspell me, it's possible. Yeah, there it is. He got me. Alright. Well, that stinks. As if that were the case, we could have gone into here and we would have stolen that guy right away. That's alright. Let's see. His turn, we'll put out our 3/3 flying. Zing! And we get the Cloudkin here, which will help us draw an extra card next turn. That's always good. I think at this point it's just a waiting game. I should be able to get him in the next turn or two. Ooh, Covetous Urge. Ooh, yep, let's go get that card from the graveyard. Yeah. Okay, well, he's got another one of those. That's interesting. Oh, and he quit. Alright. Well, there you have it. There's a quick win. Thanks for watching. And stay tuned for more. Like and follow. I'll see you guys on Friday Night Magic.